episode 66. That was terrible, but my name is Mark, and this is episode 66 of the Holocron Chronicles. Charlie is missing somewhere in the outer rim, but I hope he's listening and I hope he's well. But I am joined by a super special returning guest, and I'm super excited to be joined once again by Riley Anntoinette.
Hello.
Riley, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, it's really, really good to have you back. I'm very excited. The last time we had you on was to talk about Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes.
And you're back now to talk about Jedi Survivor. We've been planning this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Since
As
like the
things
game
should
came out.
be.
Yep. Since the game came out, I think it was like you were kind of my one and only option of people to go to talk about this game.
Awesome.
And even though Charlie did not play the game, he was excited to talk about it. He watches the cutscenes and all that stuff, so he does regret not being here. But you know, we'll go on without him and wish him the best on his work travels and such that he got caught up with. Before we do start, I have to thank a few people, including our best bud over at Patreon, Jamie Prinky, our BFF tier, Sean, Stella, and Henry Nias, and Missy Merchant and Andy. I almost said Andre. Sorry, Andy. Andy Milliken. I always screw up one thing with Patreon. It's just like it's a running gag that I'm not in on. It's just because my brain doesn't work. So thank you to everyone that supports us over on Patreon. If you would like to check out Patreon, we have free week-long trials that you can go and sign up for. Check out all the exclusive content. I am just about to launch a new show that you know what? I'll announce it right here, right now. I was going to hold this and just to kind of do a big announcement of it, but if you're listening, you get a preview of the show. We've actually kind of discussed this idea here on this show, and it's the basic premise is taking a PG-13 movie, which usually the ratings board will allow at least one curse word. So my wife and I are going to be doing a show called Where's the F? And it's going to be talking about PG-13 movies. We're going to pick a movie, and then we're going to pick the most optimal place that we would choose to insert an F word for maximum hilarity, effectiveness, whatever it is. We just finished a Lord of the Rings extended edition rewatch, and we were thinking about this the whole time we were watching that last weekend of like, you know, okay, which one of these movies, like where would we put it in each one of the movies? I still think it's when you know, she stabs the ring wraith in the face and is like, I'm no effing man. Like I think that was the most effective one, and she, you know, takes her helmet off.
Hell yeah.
I think that's the one, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's we're gonna be picking a movie. We're gonna be starting that show really, really soon. We're gonna try to do like a round table discussion and get as many people on per episode as possible. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We're still spitballing this. So this is like really early inside information for anyone listening. But we might just like do that on Discord. So if you haven't jumped in our Discord already, do that, because I might just open up a channel, get everyone in, and just start talking and recording that session. So we're still figuring out the exact details, but that's kind of the general gist of the show. So join our Patreon, because it's going to be a Patreon first show. It's going to drop there, and then we'll roll it out later. And join our Discord. That's two little plugs in one. If you haven't joined both of those places, go do that now. And just for shits and giggles, follow us on YouTube too, because that's a great place to go. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, Riley, let's talk about you. What's new and exciting in your world?
Honestly, I've just been hanging out, trying to plan more costumes and trying to figure out how to fund them.
I have recently discovered that side of things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like, so I got like, my brother went down to Disney World, and I was like, if there's Jedi tunics down there, get me one. And he did. And then I was like, well, I guess I got to put together the rest of the Jedi outfit and do
Yeah.
like a cosplay thing for the first time ever.
Mhm.
And I just started, but I didn't want to do like the regular one, so I started ordering like weird bits and pieces of like the pirate belt to kind of like, like pirate it up, because I have to be a pirate Jedi. And
Mhm.
um like, and different things like a holster, like or a, what do you call it, like a frog, like a sword frog for, but like for a lightsaber,
Oh, yeah.
and like all this stuff, and like arm things and everything, like, and I'm just like, all these little pieces, and they all add up so much, and boots are expensive. Ah, it's crazy.
Oh, boots are the worst
Crazy.
thing to order because they're
Yeah.
so expensive.
Yeah.
And it's like,
So
it's understandable, but man.
right. So any person that's like, okay, I'm gonna do a different cosplay every week. I'm like, how? What do you do?
Mhm.
What banks did you rob? Y'all are dedicated, man. I'm like throwing together piecemeal bits from Amazon. You guys are like, mad respect.
Mhm, and it's a lot
Yeah.
of trial and error, so, like, whatever
Mm.
doesn't work out, you've still spent money on it, so it's kinda like, "Oh, great. Great."
Any you can fill us in on that you're working on or that are upcoming, or is that like a little bit secret?
Oh, no, I'm working on a custom Mandalorian. Yeah, that'll
That's
be
badass.
it'll be a long work in progress, but that is what's happening right now. I'm working on, re-upping my Captain Carter costume and hopefully getting, like, an actual, like, really good Captain Carter shield, and those are
Oh, awesome.
very expensive, so I'm just kinda
Yeah, they
like
are. Yep.
yeah, but right now,
Yeah.
that's about it. I'm still teetering on the edge of live action Bo-Katan, but we'll see.
Oh, cool.
Mhm,
All right.
yeah.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, your Bo-Katan's fantastic.
Thank
So,
you so much.
how are you doing the custom Mandalorian? Are you like foam? Are you 3D printing? You do like custom ordering some stuff
Um,
through a website or anything?
I've got a resin helmet, and I'm thinking everything else will also be resin unless I get ABS plastic for the armor again, like I did for my animated Bo-Katan. But I'm still kind of researching to see what's best.
Right.
Hmm.
So
And
I
cost
see
effective.
like, yeah, yeah, it's the cost effective. I think it's like I see people like carving stuff out of foam, and I'm like, that takes some certain amount of skill. And I see people
Yes.
doing 3D print, and I'm like, that takes a certain amount of money and dedication and other kind of skills. And it's just like there's like no easy answer with any of
Hmm.
this stuff,
Yeah.
unless you have a crazy amount of money and you're just like, someone build this for me, and I
Hmm.
will
Right.
just throw you some money, and then you send me a full costume from Etsy or whatever.
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
which yeah, so there's like no easy answer. So can't wait to see what you come up with, and can't wait to see the progress while you make it. That's super
Yeah.
exciting.
Thank you. I'm
Awesome.
really nervous but very excited.
Excellent, excellent. And I'll be posting more pictures of my Jedi as I piece them more together. Um, so so one piece that I've talked to a couple of people about is like the backstory kind of thing. And that's
Hmm.
one part of like cosplaying that I never considered until like, you start working this original character kind of thing, and you're like, I guess I should give a backstory to this, like, weird looking Jedi that I have in my mind. So are you doing that with like your original Mandalorian? Do you do that with like your cosplay stuff that's not like, Bo-Katan from the,
Hmm.
from the comics and stuff?
I think I probably will. I haven't really gotten to that yet because I feel like the more I start thinking about stuff, I get very overwhelmed.
Right.
And I feel like once I have more of her kind of built, and when I like look at it, I'll be like, okay, this is what this is going to be.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you get a dog. Like when you adopt a dog, you might have like a name in mind or something, but like
Mm.
when you meet the dog, personality might kind of shift your idea of what you wanted before. Not that armor has a personality, but it kind of does.
Absolutely
Do you
it
know what I
does.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
100%. Yes, 100%.
yeah.
And I also love that you said dog, because that's what happened with my brother.
Hmm.
So the fact that you equated that to a dog, but it actually happened to like my real life brother. They had
Hmm.
a name picked out for him, and they saw him, and they were like, mm-mm. I think it was like, I think it was like Scott. My mom wanted to call him Scott, like straight up until he popped out, and then she was like, mm-mm, no, you're a Colin, for whatever reason. So like that happened IRL to my brother, and so it's not just dogs in armor; it's
Yeah,
people too.
people
It can
too.
happen to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen to everyone all over.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% going to tell him that he is like a dog tomorrow.
He's be like,
I might
okay.
even text him tonight, and he'll probably be asleep, but he'll get that first thing in the morning and just be like, "What is wrong
Like,
with you?"
what are you
Like
talking
midnight.
about?
Yeah. Be like, "Listen to the show, haha." Um, so we have had you on before, so we've asked a few of these questions, but we have some new questions that I want to go over. Unless your "How did you get into Star Wars" story has somehow changed and you found a DeLorean and went back in time. Um,
No.
I think people can go if they want to find out more about you, and they should go back and listen to that first episode, and listen about the first game, and see where we've come now after a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, so let's skip those, and I want to jump right into speaking of stuff that has personality, like armor, lightsabers. What's your lightsaber color of choice?
If we're going, if I have all the options, like similar as to how you have all the options basically in the Fallen Order and Survivor games,
Yeah,
orange.
nice. Yep.
My favorite color is not orange, it is dark green. So if I'm not getting all of that, it would be green. But orange because I just think it's so cool.
So
It's
yeah,
it's different enough to be like, oh.
and I loved orange in the first Jedi game
Hmm.
so much, and I liked it in this one, but they seem to be ruining orange in a way.
How
And
so?
hear me out. Okay, if you're if you prefer the light side, if
Hmm.
you are, more of a Jedi kind of aligned person, and you like orange, they seem to be starting to use orange in canon for dark side, for like
Mm.
almost Sith, but not quite. So like the High Republic Jedi in this game that woke up and bled his crystal doesn't turn red. That sucker turns like a deep orange.
Hmm.
Same thing with the two that we've seen in the Acolyte trailer, or no, the Ahsoka trailer
Hmm.
with Ray Stevenson. That's the Ahsoka trailer, right? They look orange. They're like
Yes,
fallen Jedi,
but
Order 66 survivors.
I will say I think they confirmed that the lightsabers in that footage weren't done yet, so it could be different in the actual
Okay,
show.
okay.
But if it's
Hmm.
not, then yes, that is true. That is
Yeah,
true.
yeah. So we'll see. But I think like Cal uses more of a light orange, and I've always considered
Hmm.
that more of the canon option because it was the special edition. It was unique to Cal.
I agree. Hmm.
So I think we talked about that in the first game's recap episode. So
Hmm.
um, again, good time for people to jump back and listen to that. But
Hmm.
orange is a great color. I did play most of this new game with an orange saber,
Me
especially the
too.
opening. So
I felt
um,
guilty about changing things. Even though
yeah.
like that's what you're supposed to do, I felt very guilty about changing anything. Anytime I like tried to see what it would be like to not have like technically Jaro Tapal's saber.
Yeah.
I'm a very sentimental person, and it does not matter in games at all. But like it bleeds into that for me, and so I'm just like, no, it has to be Jaro Tapal's saber. Like it can't be anything else.
Yep.
It can't.
I would sometimes change the secondary part of the saber, but the top, the emitter at least
Mhm.
stayed from Jaros the whole
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
through this playthrough of the new game. Speaking of designs, do you have a favorite lightsaber design? Canon, Legends, anything?
This
What's
is
uh,
going
what's
to
your favorite
sound
design?
yeah, this is going to sound really basic, but Cal's well, Jaro Tapal's, but it's Cal's.
There you go. Yeah,
Um I I like I like his broken saber.
yeah.
It's very heartbreaking and like very angsty, but it looks very cool and it's kind of it gives it character. It gives it
Hmm.
character.
Absolutely.
Um, and so I think it's just so sick and very heartbreaking, which is probably why I like it.
Yeah.
Star Wars pain is good.
Yes. Yes. There's a yeah. Uh, I can't argue with that. Yeah, the lightsaber with a story is always more interesting. I think
Hmm.
that has some little thing, and that one's one of the most impactful. Um,
Hmm.
it's very good. Do you have a favorite Star Wars collectible? I'm seeing a few collectibles in
Oh.
behind you there. Anything that stands out for you?
Um.
And this could be like a cosplay helmet. It doesn't have to be like an official collectible. This could be like
Hmm.
anything.
I mean, my Bo-Katan helmet's very cool, but I do have a Cal Kestis lightsaber from Saberforge, and it's also very cool.
Stick.
I have a lot of cool things, and it's very hard for me to pick favorites.
That's fair too. That's it. It is. Yeah, it's tough. I can easily say like the lightsaber I built at Galaxy's Edge or my
Hmm.
Mando helmet, which are both conveniently behind me. But like, I also have like a lot of like vintage toys and just weird little things that I'm like, I like this.
Hmm.
So I get that. I get the not being able to narrow it down.
Yeah.
Can't pick a favorite kid.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
we talked about the orange sabers and kind of what they mean, light side, dark side, whatever. But do you have a favorite affiliation? It doesn't even have to be force power users, Jedi, bounty hunters, Sith,
Mhm.
rebels, Ewoks, Wookiees, space pirates. Any what if you could like hang out with a group, what would it be?
I want to say Jedi. I love the Jedi, and I know they have their many faults. I am so aware of that. But I feel like they might be too peaceful for me in the
Mm,
sense of like if something needs to happen, it's gotta happen. So I feel like I'd probably say rebels.
mm, yeah,
Because they
a
can
little
be
bit more boots to
chill.
the ground.
Yeah, they can be chill, but they're also ready when it's time to
Hmm.
fight. We'll fight. Let's go.
Yeah, I
And
like
I
that.
know the Jedi do that too, but like they have that whole you can't feel anger, and it's just kind of like yes, you can, and maybe sometimes you should.
I think it. I think that answer, like, you'd almost have to narrow down the Jedi
Mm-hmm.
that you pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, do you want like the strict, like older Yoda Jedi, or the younger kind of like badass Yoda Jedi, or
Mm-hmm.
like the Qui-Gon just kind of like I'm gonna do what I want, like
Yeah.
just yeah, like coming back to the accountant in the Jedi temple and being like, hey, I bought an orphan. Cool. How was your day?
Yeah.
What? Excuse
Yeah.
me? What you bought a what? Slave boy? Okay, that's what is going on
Mm-hmm.
here. Um, yeah, I think the most frustrated people in the Jedi temple would be like their accountant
Mm-hmm.
and the robe maker.
Because they just keep dropping them and
They
leaving them
just keep
everywhere.
dropping them. You never see them pick them up.
They're like
It's just
later.
like, cool, I made 600 robes today. How many do we need for tomorrow? 700? Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's just, like just too stressed. Um, where was I? I completely just went off on a tangent there. Anyway, okay, so Star Wars is, you already mentioned, is basically just like constant suffering, pain, tragedy,
Mm-hmm.
wrapped in laser swords, ponchos, and really cool helmets. Uh, if you were in the Star Wars universe, hanging out with the rebels or hanging out anywhere, what hilarious and funny and tragic way would you die?
Do I have the force or not?
You can choose.
Okay. If I don't have the force, I'd probably fall from somewhere on accident.
Mm, yeah, no rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I did have the force, I'd probably fall from somewhere on accident. And I'd be too panicked in the fall to like catch myself with the force. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, 100%.
I'd
Yeah.
be too like in the moment of falling and freaking out to be like, "Oh wait, I can do something about this."
And yeah, instead of like force slowing yourself down, you try to like force grab the ledge, and I was like,
Yeah.
that doesn't work. Splat. I
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, 100%.
I'd be like exploring or something and then I'm gone. That's
Yeah,
fine. Someone will
yeah.
find my bones eventually.
It'll be Cal, and he'll be like, "Oh, let's see how this person died," and he'll touch your bones and get
Yeah.
the whole story of you
Little
being
force
like,
echo.
"Hey, what's over here? Whoa!" Splat.
Yeah. And
Uh,
he'd just be like, okay.
yep. All right, BD, we got to go over this way. Um, it's like a
Someone didn't pay attention to their training, BD.
very Loki. It's like, oh, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Anyway, Just that whole game is just him being Loki.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yes, tragedy. Moving on.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, that is I
That's
just
how he
realized
copes.
that Cal is very much Loki.
Hmm.
Um, I need to replay that game now. Thinking of this, uh, since there's no real news that I can think of, is there anything? I don't think there's been any like big, like Star Warsy news.
No, except apparently a few days ago when Twitter did that weird rate limit thing, we were supposed to get an Ahsoka trailer and we didn't because Twitter was being Twittery.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
Elon
pain.
kind of ruined everyone's day. Yeah.
That's a pain.
Hmm. That's
Well,
not really
that's
news, but it is news.
yeah, yeah. That's a weird. I see. So I didn't hear that, and I'm feeling even better about my jump to Threads.
Hmm.
So and we talked about before we started recording that like everyone that's on Instagram is jumping over to Threads. Like I need to mute all this. Like I've got so many thread notifications of like people
Hmm.
downloading the app and just like because I set it to follow everyone automatically that I follow on Instagram.
Yeah,
So it's
same.
that was a choice. That was, and there's another one.
Yeah.
So if you see me like my wrist going up, that's it. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
my
ignore it though.
friend told me just turn off notifications for now
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a good
and
call.
check again in maybe like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Like you can still go on it, but just like turn off the notifications for now.
yeah, that's a good call. That's a pretty good call.
Hmm.
Well, let's jump straight in to talking about Jedi Survivor because that's what we're here. We've already alluded to it several times, so let's just jump right in and talk about
Hmm.
our crazy little Loki boy Cal Kestis. So we're going to go full spoilers. If you haven't played the game, if you're halfway through the game, if you don't want to hear anything, take this time to pause, come back after you've finished, or if you're bouncing. Thanks for listening up to this point. We hope you come back next week, and that's it. So you've got like 3, 2, 1. We're going full spoilers. So I don't have a spoiler to say right now, but like this is you're
Cal
jumping off.
Kestis.
Uh,
That's a spoiler.
oh my goodness, no, he's back.
He's back.
Spoiler alert.
He's back.
Spoiler alert. Cal is back in the game that is about him. Massive surprise there. He's on the
Hmm.
box cover and in all the trailers.
Yeah.
And we may have just ruined that surprise for anyone. Imagine just popping in that game and be like, all right, what's this about? Ah, this guy's back?
Yeah.
Damn
This
it.
guy again.
Ah, man, I was really hoping it'd be a non-ginger this time. It would have been fantastic.
God.
Uh, you can change his hairstyle, but you can't change the color. Sorry, people. Um, so, so let's go with a little like recap, I suppose, of the story. Um, would you like to recap the story for everyone listening?
I feel
I
like
feel
I'd
like
leave
I
stuff
know I
out.
just like I threw you onto the bus there, but I feel like I talk a lot, so I want to
No,
give
I
you a
don't want
chance
to
if you
leave
want to.
anything out. I don't want
Okay.
to leave anything out. Someone's gonna be like, actually, you forgot about this in your recap, and I'd be like, sorry,
Well,
sorry.
you can yell at me, folks, because it's late and I'm gonna try to skim through Wikipedia. Uh, so basically, this is five. Actually, man, I'm distracted tonight. Did you read the In Between book?
I'm halfway
The
through it, but I know
okay,
basically what's going on. Yeah.
all right, yeah, that's fair.
Hmm.
Um, okay, that's I don't even know why that was relevant, but I saw the 5 years after destroying the Jedi Holocron in the first game.
Hmm.
Cal Kestis has parted ways with the entire team. Sear, Grease, Marin, everyone else, and they've and he's continued his battle against the Empire as a resistance fighter, working under the direction of the favorite cameo appearance, Saw Gerrera. So when we pick him up, he's on Coruscant, fighting with some new mercenaries, including his friend Bode, and who we saw in the trailers, the Night Sister, the Ninth Sister, not the Night Sister. She'll be back later. The Ninth Sister, who we fought on Kashyyyk, comes back. They're trying to retrieve some data. They kill her. Stuff goes awry. The Mantis gets damaged, and Cal goes to find the only person that can really help them that's close by, which is Grease, who's running a bar on a planet called Kobo. So that's kind of where the game picks up. Like the first stage, the first mission is all Coruscant, and then it's just like, let's get to this other planet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the as you kind of continue to explore there, you find a droid in a High Republic cave place kind of thing. The droid goes by Z. Uh, that basically you talk to that droid, you find a device, it leads to some arrays, and that's kind of the first part of this. Is the to me anyway. There's kind of two pieces of this, and the story kind of forks off in two directions of like Cal reuniting his team, and the interpersonal conflicts in that team. And I thought most of the game was really going to focus on this like High Republic array. You find a High Republic Jedi that's been like suspended animation. They never really explained fully, I think, what's going on. But basically, they find this High Republic Jedi named Dagan, and some pirates. I'm blanking on the name of the
Raiders.
Raven. Is it Ravis?
Ravis. Mm-hmm.
Ravis, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And some raiders who are loyal to this Jedi as well. Dagan has fallen to the dark side, immediately goes after Cal, and you kind of think for most of the game that he's the big bad, that these raiders, that Dagan, that they're kind of like the big enemy of this game.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of the game, like I said, kind of continues of you trying to find these other arrays, you trying to get to a planet called Tanalor, which can be used for the hidden path, which we've heard about in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and where they're trying to like hide people and get people through. You find out that the Cordova and Seer are basically like keeping the Jedi archives. They're kind of rebuilding the knowledge. Marin has been going around the universe, protecting people and saving people, and kind of working with a little bit of everyone, working with Seer here and there. And you're kind of trying to reunite the team to be like, this can help everyone. Let's do this. And I'm glazing over some spots, but it's a big game. So here we go.
Very big game compared to the
It
first
is
one.
it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as you continue to do this, the Raiders and this fallen Jedi kind of continue to be one step ahead of you or very, very close behind you. The Empire is all over the place as well, so you have to deal with that. And you spend most of the game just kind of like trying to piece things together, trying to find things before they do, trying to get to this Tanalor hidden path planet from the High Republic days, before anyone else does, so you can kind of help people who are trying to escape the Empire. And you defeat everyone and do everything there, and you think the game's going to end, and then your best bud betrays you. Bode gets everyone killed. Darth Vader comes and kicks ass and gets lit on fire, but still manages to kill everyone, and everything sucks, and I was devastated
Yeah,
by everything.
that whole sequence was insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Like when you see like that snippet in the trailer, you would never imagine that was what was going on
No, no,
at
not at all.
all.
Not at all. And it all happened because of Bode, and
Ugh,
that sucks. So Cal goes a little dark side, which I dug. I
that
really
was
thought that was cool.
insane.
Hmm. Yep.
Insane.
Yep. And kind of goes after, and the rest of the game is going after Bode, who also stole the device to get to Tanalor because he has a daughter who he just wants he and his daughter to be safe, which
And you find out that he used to be a Jedi.
yeah,
What the
wild. Yeah.
that whole the
So
whole
many
reveal was insane.
so many twists, so many turns. It was just like betrayal, Darth Vader, crazy speeder chase, finding out he's a Jedi, like
Mm-hmm.
dying essentially. I don't know if you
It
like
was like rapid succession.
mhm.
All of that
Yep.
whole section was not just like, oh, two twists, like, oh, there's Darth Vader and there's Bode and he sucks. It's just like, oh, Bode kills Cordova, which immediately just like kind of a wonder that that man was even alive. I thought that man was dead in the first game.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
And so it's like Cordova gets killed by Bode. Bode betrays you. Darth Vader shows up. You play as Seer because you die after chasing Bode.
Yeah.
Well, don't
Yeah.
die, but like you die.
Yeah,
You
but
die, but
like
you don't
you
die.
essentially like it looks like you're dead.
Yeah,
And like I legitimately thought like the rest of the game was going to be Seer,
me
maybe
too.
Marin, just because like there's so crazy, so
I was
twisty
so
turny.
upset at first because I was like, they did not just kill Cal right now.
Yeah, and you think they can because like they killed Cordova and
Yeah,
everything kind of like and you very quickly take over as Seer, so it's just like is he like he's actually I'm playing as a different person right now. Like
yeah.
this is what how what's happening in this situation. So
Hmm.
I was very much surprised, very much thrown for a loop, and I'm glad you were too. That it wasn't just me being
Oh,
all dramatic of like this is the best.
it was insane. Like, I know I keep saying that, but there's literally no other word for it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, so after all of that craziness, you find Bode, you get to Tandalore. Bode has his daughter there, and his daughter basically said, "My dad's gone crazy." Like,
Yeah.
which is heartbreaking because I get it as a parent, as someone who has people that I care about. Like, shit hits the fan, like that's who you want to protect. That's who you want to be like, it's like screw everyone else. Like I'm just like, taking care of mine, especially like in his case where his wife died. So it was just like, I know how quickly stuff can happen. I can't
Hmm.
take care of everyone. So I'm going to take care of this one person that I think I can. But, um, kind of unforgivable. But Cal still tries to forgive him, which is like,
What a guy.
dude, you're the best darn Jedi since Obi-Wan. Like,
Hmm.
so good.
Hmm.
Um, Sadly, things don't end well for Bode because he is told to back down. He doesn't, and Cal had the high
Yeah.
ground. Let's just put it that way. Uh,
And the
which
dark side.
and the dark side, which is, yeah, yeah, that gave him more of a high ground than Anakin for sure.
Hmm.
They, yeah, the daughter seems oddly cool with that. That's cool. Um,
Yeah. She was just kind of like, okay.
okay, cool. Yeah, all right. You and Space Wizard Witch Mommy are gonna adopt me now. Cool,
Right.
thanks.
Yeah. She's kind
Neat.
of like, okay.
Yeah. All right. I mean, if you're gonna have adoptive parents, Cal and Marin are pretty cool
It's kind of
to
what happened
have.
in Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Here, I will adopt
Similar.
the villain's child.
Yeah. Very, very similar vibes. But only in that respect.
Yeah,
This is
just
not
right
as
there.
goofy
Only
as
right
that.
there. Yeah.
Just that one bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, yes, I loved the part in Jedi Survivor with the screaming goats running into a planet. It was amazing,
Yeah.
absolutely
Yep.
amazing. I do like the Cal and Marin ended up like together because I read the book in between and Marin like kind of has some self realizations, kind of goes away from Cal, very much
Hmm.
goes away from Cal, ends up kind of with someone else, but then, that breaks off too. So it's that kind of ends. And it doesn't lead, the book doesn't lead directly into this game. So you still
Mm-mm.
don't really like the threads are there. The seeds are planted for the team to break up by the end of the book. But
Yeah.
like you don't see that. You still don't see it. So whether you read the book or don't, you start this game going like, how the hell did the band break up? Why did they how did this happen? What
Hmm.
happened? So seeing them come together again and seeing that kind of happen, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Because
Hmm.
those two together are just like it's magic. It's like that scene where they're both like flying through the air and she's opening up portals and he's jumping through them and like
That was the coolest
yes.
thing in a video game I have seen in my entire life, and I've played some really cool games. That is literally the
Yeah.
coolest thing that has ever happened in a game.
My nephew just just beat this game, just finished it maybe a week or two ago. And he told me like, "Hey, I finally got the game." And I was like, "Dude, this is so great." And he was like, "What, you know?" And he lives like on the other side of the country. And so like we text back and forth or FaceTime or whatever. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff. But like when you do the coolest thing, let me know. And right away. And like every once in a while, he'd be like, "Hey, this was pretty cool." And I'd be like, "Nope, not quite.
Yeah.
Nope, not quite." And as soon as it happened, he was like, "Nope, I know exactly what you mean. That was the
Mhm.
coolest thing." Just the very same reaction, like coolest thing ever in a video game. Um,
Mhm.
so it's great to see them working together and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of like how the game ends. They have a Jedi funeral for Seer, Cordova, and
Oh.
Bode, and yeah, they kind of make a plan to contact the Hidden Path and use Tanalorr. So kind of an interesting place to leave it. We haven't heard of this in any other canon stuff. Again, we've heard of the Hidden Path. We've heard of this kind of slight cross between this game and Obi-Wan.
Mhm.
And it makes sense that it hasn't really, because it's hidden. It really is hidden. Like
Yeah.
this
No
planet
one
is
else
super
knows.
hard. You can't get to it
Mhm.
without the devices that you find in this game. So it makes so much sense that like there could be this sect of Jedi, there could be a sect of just people, rebels, whatever, that are hiding from the Empire that
Mhm.
nobody knows about because it's so well hidden. And I love that. I love
Mhm.
that that's where they leave it. They leave it open to more canon shows, movies, books, comics, and hopefully another game. Um, so if I missed anything in that very like jumbled description, I apologize. That was a very quick run through because I'm hoping at this point anyone listening has played the game. So I just wanted to run over some of the points so we could have those little freak out moments of like, holy crap, that was cool.
Mhm.
Um, so I mentioned that even if you read the book, this game kind of picks up in like a what the hell just happened spot. Did you
Yeah.
expect it to pick up in that way, or did you kind of expect like the whole team? Like, what were your feelings kind of coming into this game?
I didn't expect it to pick up there. I kind of assumed maybe Cal was on his own doing something like based on the trailer.
Mm,
Um and I think the trailer showed him like seeing Seer for the first time and it's just kind of been like it was like an awkward moment. But
right.
then I didn't expect the team to have been like broken up. If
Yeah.
anything, I expected maybe Seer to be like, "All right, I'm going to go do something later."
Right.
And so when like
Yeah.
that happened, I was like, "Oh, oh, this is not great."
Hmm. Yeah, that was a surprise for me. Like, yes, Seer seemed to want to establish, you know, a new Jedi Order, or at least a home base kind of thing. And
Mhm.
I kind of assumed, like you, like, yeah, maybe Cal's gone off on a mission by himself, but like
Mhm.
they still had to be together for home base, right? Like home is
Right.
still where they're together. And it was like so jarring to me that they started off in this way. Um,
Mhm.
But another thing that I loved about the starting of this game, and something that I really, really noticed jumping into Zelda Tears of the Kingdom
Mhm.
after playing this game, was it doesn't start off like most Metroidvania games, which is kind of is, you know, you explore and you come back and you unlock new powers and get new places and all that kind of stuff. They don't knock you on your ass and take away all your powers and abilities and all that kind of stuff and start you back on 3 hearts and 0 force abilities. They're like, all right, you finished the first game, you got all these powers, you still have those powers, here's some cool new ones.
Mhm.
I didn't expect that either because I've been playing video games for a long ass time, and every single time you pick up one of these new games, it's like Metroid. It's like, you know, when you play the next Metroid game, some shit's gonna happen where Samus gets booped on the head and has to relearn how to shoot her gun again and
Mhm.
loses all of her missiles for some reason and her armor's depleted. Like,
Yeah.
I expected Cal to get hit by like a space frying pan and be like, I
Mhm.
forget how to use the force. Oops.
Yeah. Square
Like,
one.
right? Like to
Mhm.
start it off like this was like just amazing. So it was very jarring from the story and jarring from like a games don't do this
Mhm.
kind of standpoint. So really unexpected, but really got me into the game very, very quickly.
Yes.
Um, you already mentioned like you saw in the trailer, and we talked about the reunion with Seer. What was your favorite reunion of any of the characters?
I think Cal and Sears' union was very sweet. I did cry about it, but
Mm,
one that literally had me giddy the entire time was Cal and Marin. I was just and so
yep.
incredibly giddy when they get up on I forget the name of the creature, but they get up on the creature to ride it, and she appears next to him and grabs his waist, and he's just kind of like,
Yes.
it's just like so cute and so funny, and I just loved all of it so
Yep.
much. And
Absolutely.
like her just like like flirting with him very obviously, and him not knowing what to do is just so funny.
The absolute cutest.
It's
Them
just
in the
so
cave
funny.
just being so awkward, like just that whole scene is just like, hey, here's a priest for a church that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Get the hot space witch to flirt with
Yeah.
him is like crazy. Let's go.
And the thing is,
Uh
like, she knew how
Fantastic.
awkward he was, and she also thought it was funny, so she kept doing it.
Yep. That is, it shows the actors' chemistry, I think, as well. And
Mm-hmm.
like the benefit of getting real good actors to do
Yeah.
your mocap and your voice acting and all of this stuff. Cause like they knew how to play this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And that's no shot to like voice actors or anything else. But like
No.
this
Mm-mm.
particular game showed why that was important
Yeah.
in this game. It showed like, like, and they could easily bring that same chemistry and those same people, those same faces to live action, and we wouldn't miss a beat. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's very important for this particular Star Wars game. Again, other games can use voice actors, and it's incredibly effective and meaningful and everything else. But for those specific scenes, I think it
Yeah.
was it was a good call. It was a very good
Mm-hmm.
call. Uh, favorite favorite new character. We've met some old ones. Any new ones standing out to you?
It would have been Bode. It would
I
have.
know.
It would have. I sorry if this is cringe, but like in my head, anytime Bode was on screen, I jokingly say to myself, be like, oh, big sexy Bode. But then when he did the thing, I said, oh, big betrayer Bode. No, thank you. No, not anymore. So I think my new answer is probably Turgle.
Yes, that was gonna be mine.
Yes.
Shoot. Uh,
You can have the same one.
I know.
He's such a
I
mess.
am glad you said Bode because I was just gonna go straight to Turgle.
Mhm.
I'm glad you said Bode though because he was so damn likable.
He was, and that is how they get you. And I logically know that.
Yep.
But I never see trailers for things anymore that leave out things that happen in
Hmm.
anything like games, movies, shows. You always see everything now, and it kind of annoys me.
Yeah.
They truly kept the biggest plot twist secret, and it was
Yep.
incredible. And it made you love a guy and then automatically hate him.
Well, and that's what I meant. Like I when I said like the game is gone in two different paths because they establish that like here's your crew, here's all these interpersonal relationships, and they build that up while also doing this weird bait and switch thing of like, hey, here's a High Republic Jedi who's
Mm-hmm.
gone dark side and who's missing an arm, and like what's going on with him? Hey, look over
Mm-hmm.
here. And you think that's the big bad while all this other stuff's just kind of happening, and you're like so focused on him and like his little crew of renegades and all this kind of like whatever. And like you forget about that completely by this betrayal.
Yeah.
Like
You're like, who's Dagon?
completely. Yeah, completely. And for a game, for me to like bring up a High Republic Jedi that we haven't seen that's like
Mm-hmm.
really cool looking, has a cool lightsaber, has a cool backstory, feels betrayed by the Order before like Order 66 and all the crap that went down. Asks Cal, how would you let an Empire do this? We're the Jedi, and you watch him bleed a crystal for that. I think the first time someone's bled a crystal like in real time in
I
canon.
think so. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Super cool. Um,
Like you
so I'm
see it in the
glad
Kylo Ren comic, I think. but it's not
Yeah,
obviously on a screen.
yeah.
Like you don't see it.
So yeah, no, I think this is like first like real time
Mhm.
video esque kind of whatever, non red or like pictures or whatever. Um, yeah, we saw like Luke unbleed or foot anyway in the new comic where he gets his green
Mm.
saber,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
green crystal. Um, Purify. What's that? I'm like
I guess
unbleed. It's like
purify.
12:30. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think it's
uh,
purify.
so like that whole thing, not ending the game after Dagon's defeat. Um, I did like what were you thinking when you like you beat Dagon and then like the game doesn't end? I thought it was going into a cutscene,
No,
and it was
the
like, okay, we're off to Tanalorr.
no, truly, when like that whole thing was happening, I was like, "There's literally no way this ends right here. This
Mm,
game has been so short. If that ends right here, there's
right.
no way." But then
Yeah.
I beat him, and then I was sitting there. I was like, "But now what? Like, obviously, there's something else."
Right. Because it didn't feel like an ending.
No, because usually
Like it
the
was,
ending is when you beat the guy.
yeah. And it was a fine enough boss battle,
Oh
but it
yeah,
was just kind of like
absolutely.
you're left there and you're like, okay,
You're
the
like, "What's
weird
the rest of
droids
the
kind of hang
story?"
in, like we'll
Yeah.
save her and guess we'll go home now. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's like where are we going from here? Like, because that's
Yeah.
basically what like I said, that's what the trailer was.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say, the actor who played Dagon, Cody Fern, incredible actor. And so I was very excited to see him throughout an entire game be this
Mm-hmm.
awful villain or whatever he was going to be, because I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
100% sure that he was actually going to be the villain.
Right.
And then like for I it's not that his story went quickly, but it kind of did. And so I was just kind of like, "Oh, but now what?" I was completely off,
Yeah.
like thrown off. Like, okay, what's
Mm-hmm.
the rest of the game?
Because and it's not that it happened kind of midway through. Like there wasn't a ton of the game afterwards. Like you kind of go to the Imperial facility, hunt down Bode. Like the shit hits the
Hmm.
fan with Vader and everything else. But
Hmm.
like that isn't a huge section of the game. But I think the big bait and switch is you forget about Dagon for a
Hmm.
while because
Yeah.
there's so much exploration. There's so much of hey, they've gone to this planet, so we should go to that planet. So it's like he's still the bad guy, but he's kind of like a looming threat in the distance ish
Hmm.
that like you don't think about him. You're exploring and you're spending 25 hours exploring this game, and like there's stormtroopers here, there's renegades here, there's stuff that you're taking down, and every so often like Dagon or one of his big henchmen comes by and you have to take care of that. But like once you kind of confront him, then it's over very quickly.
Hmm.
But you're still
Yeah.
like 20 something hours into the game and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, is this like a 30-hour game or whatever? I've got a few hours to wrap up, but what's left?
Hmm.
And that's when they really do that. It's like, okay, this was kind of a like fizzle
Hmm.
out for that kind of thing.
Not that it was
Um,
bad. Like it was like
Not
a
at
good
all.
kind of like what's going on. Not like a bad
Yeah.
like, "Oh, well this didn't make sense." Like it made perfect sense, but it was just kind of like, what's going to happen now?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. It was very the whole time I was playing it, I was kind of like I'm pretty sure I was making this face to my TV like and I was like still
Yes.
controlling. I'm still going through the game, and I'm trying to like my brain's like the gears are going. There's smoke coming out of my ears. Like, okay, what's gonna happen? Is something bad gonna happen? What's gonna happen now? What bad is gonna
Hmm.
happen? Is there something gonna come out of the thing? And I'm thinking like some sort of space worm's gonna come out of the tunnel. Like Tanalorr is not gonna be a good place. It's gonna be a bad place. There's gonna be something more
Hmm.
there. Like anything other than Bode's betrayal was going
Hmm.
through my head. It was
Yeah.
it was crazy. Um,
Hmm.
I want to get back to a couple of things about the gameplay
Hmm.
before I go into a couple of the last questions here. Favorite planet that we explored in this game?
They're all very cool. Kobo, I think, for me.
Mm, yeah.
Um, there's just so much to it. I still have not explored everything.
Same.
I did kind of fall off of it a bit because of all the stuff going on in life, but like there's so much and like so many little secrets in addition to like the Jedi vaults. There's just like a lot of layers and it's very cool. It's like a little yeehaw planet.
Yeah. It's very like Wild West kind of like thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's um the giant chicken things that you can kind of ride around.
Mm-hmm. And you
Very
can put
Final
them in the
Fantasy
stable. It's
esque.
very cute.
Put them in the stable. So cute. So
Very
cute.
cute.
The wildlife in this game so interactive and so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I also have to give a shout out to Jeddah, just
Oh
because I
yeah.
like the Jedi kind of temple and lore and everything built up around there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's not quite as interesting like visually because it's all like sand and this and that, and it's not as interesting to get around. But I did kind of enjoy, and again, that was the place where that like the coolest scene ever happened.
Yeah.
So I have to give that one a shout out. I also did love going through the Imperial, like that facility where you
The
go after
ISB
Bode,
facility.
the ISB. So yeah,
Which insane that Bode was working for the ISB.
yeah, we didn't even mention that, but yeah, that's
Like I know it was to stay to save his skin, but like
mhm,
and kind of like further his own like for his own gain, but
yeah,
man, I know he wasn't like he fell obviously from the Jedi after Order 66. But I don't know, like I would probably understand if I could have ever gotten to that mindset, but like a Jedi working for the ISB to capture and kill your friends is
yep,
insane to me.
yep. And that happened with so many Inquisitors. I guess we're lucky Bo didn't turn into an Inquisitor because,
Mhm.
damn, dude's jacked and a badass.
Mhm.
So he would have made a very, very effective Inquisitor. Um,
Mhm.
but
Cuz
yeah,
these are also the people that killed his wife.
yep,
That's oh, I can't
I bet.
understand. Like I understand but I can't.
Yep, yep. I totally get you.
But that
Yeah,
facility was very cool.
very cool to go through.
What was
Yeah.
that guy's name? That boss's name, was it Mike the door technician? What was it?
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about. That was
It
so
was the
funny.
yeah technician guy. Oh man, I even took a screenshot of that because it was the funniest boss fight in the game.
I
Which
literally
was
couldn't
going to be my
stop
next
giggling.
question. That was going to be my next question. Was what was your favorite boss fight? And I think that was going to be mine.
Yeah, that
It's
was a
so
really good
funny.
one. That was a
Mike the
really
door
good
tech
one.
or something like that. Just a
I think it,
stormtrooper that shows up and
yeah.
it's like, come on, and it's
And you're just
one
like,
shot
what? You're
kill.
like, what the hell is going on?
Such a random spot.
Okay, I think
So good.
my
Um,
favorite boss fight. I mean, Bode's was really good, but it was really sad. It made me just like
yeah.
really sad. Dagon's was very cool because there was that point where he kind of like made Bode see things and made Cal feel a certain way, and I thought that was
Mhm.
very interesting. That was a very cool boss fight.
I love anytime we see a new force power.
Mm-hmm.
That's like we've seen people, obviously we've seen like the Jedi mind tricks. One of the first things we see a Jedi do in any of the Star Wars films is, the simple Jedi mind trick. How does that work? And what do you see? It's like, oh, these aren't the droids you're looking for. You're looking at the droids right now.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly they are. So what are you seeing? What is that? But this is the first time we've seen first person or whatever, inside that vision of like, oh, it's not just a simple like, hey, guess these aren't the droids I'm looking for. It's like you're bending reality. I can make you see whatever the hell I want you to see, and
Mm-hmm.
you're just lucky I don't make you see worse things than different
Yeah.
droids. Like,
And he
holy
grew his
shit.
arm back through the force like a force arm.
So cool.
That guy was, yeah.
High Republic Jedi's knew some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
So cool. Um, very different. We could go force power. I was thinking like new mechanic, lightsaber stance. What's like your favorite new thing in
Mm-hmm.
this game?
We briefly mentioned the mind trick thing. That was a really cool mechanic. You
Yeah.
only used it a couple times, but like it was really cool. But I really loved the dual wield.
Oh yeah.
I used that for most of the game
Nice.
because it was very cool. And
Yeah.
if I wanted to stray away from just double Jaro to Paul, I made the second one a different lightsaber. But like,
Yeah.
and so I'd have both. And so I thought that was very cool.
Mm.
Broadsword was
I
also very cool.
I love the crossguard
Mm-hmm.
so much. The first time you use it, or the first time I used it anyway, it was just like I'm so used to like the like you said the dual blade I thought was awesome. I was
Mm-hmm.
using like two blades in two hands, and then I was using like this just the dual bladed lightsaber Darth Maul style for a little while. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I used the crossguard, and I hit a stormtrooper in a hallway, and he went down the hallway. It was like I hit him
Yeah.
with a truck, and his
Mm-hmm.
leg stayed where I hit him, which dismemberment in this game is a thing now, which is
Yeah.
fantastically hilarious because limbs just fly out randomly.
Yeah.
So I hit the stormtrooper just like a truck, and his body went down, his leg went in opposite direction. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I see the appeal, Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting this. Yep, that's it. It hits so hard, and it feels like it just feels powerful. It's a little slow for my
Mm-hmm.
liking, but like if you need to hit something like big and you know what's coming up, like a boss fight or something, I'd usually switch my stances to have something like really quick for those like let's dodge, let's get in there, do a little bit of like damage. But if I
Mm-hmm.
really need to hit you, then I'd switch to the cross guard and just go to town, baseball bat style. Like
Absolutely.
very good mix. And I liked how you only had to pick two because I think it would kind of diminish it if you could just quickly cycle through everything.
Mm-hmm.
So this caused a little bit of that like meta game where it's like, yeah, I need to like go into this and think about going into this. And it causes a little bit more of that like mindfulness.
And you have to
What might be ahead
strategize
of
and
me? What's the
mm-hmm.
strategy? It like gets you into the Jedi mindset, I thought. So I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
really cool. Um, so let's kind of wrap this all up. What I have two questions. And then we'll finish off with like a one more kind of thing that might fit into another question. So the first one is, what did you think of this game overall? Like the story, everything. I mean, mostly I guess the story, but like gameplay, just like everything. How'd they do with this as a sequel?
Game of the year, personally for
Yeah.
me. And I know my other contender was going to be the second Spider-Man game that's coming out this fall.
Yeah.
Um, I will even say that it will probably still be game of the year. I think it was absolutely incredible. Having so many twists and turns in rapid succession, seeing Darth Vader again, him killing Seer was absolutely devastating. But just like that whole chunk of gameplay, just being like one twist after another, it was just absolutely insane, and it kept you guessing and on your toes because you didn't know what was going to happen after the trailer villain was gone. And so I thought it was incredible. 10
Yeah.
out of 10.
Same. I thought all the same things that you said, like game of the year, which is saying something when the sequel to one of my favorite games ever has come out, like Breath of the Wild. Like I said,
Mm,
Tears of the Kingdom, I played it
yeah.
after this, and I was just like, I can't start back at Three Hearts right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't go through like this intro. It just felt so draggy. And I am more into Tears of the Kingdom now, but I needed some time away from Jedi Survivor in order to appreciate Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really saying something. I thought they improved every aspect of the first game, mechanic wise, gameplay wise, story wise. They upped the ante. Just like they took everything, and I loved the first game, but it
Mm-hmm.
had some problems.
Yeah.
But they took everything that was good about that and made it better. Everything that was bad about the first game and got rid of it. Like there's fast travel in this one. There's like just everything's just cleaned up and made so much better.
Mm-hmm.
It is, yeah, so far my game of the year, and it's going to take a hell of a good game. I can't believe that Tears of the Kingdom didn't knock it out so far. Maybe it will if I put another 100 hours into it. I don't know. We'll see. But like right
Mm-hmm.
now, game of the year, 100%. What do you want from a third game? I'm guessing, do you want a third game?
I do.
Okay.
I love Cal Kestis. I I think he is my favorite Jedi, which is kind of huge for me to say because Anakin Skywalker is one of my favorite characters in the entire world.
Yeah.
Um, but I I know that Cal is better at being a Jedi than Anakin was, obviously, even though Cal also struggled with the dark side, which was absolutely insane. That twist
Yeah.
was insane as well. Um, I need more Cal Kestis from another game. I don't know because they obviously have a child now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. In that sense, I'll touch on something that I thought we were going to see in this game and that I kind of wanted to see in this game,
hmm
which is playing as both Cal and Marin.
Oh yeah.
I, we again, I mentioned this earlier. We got a sense of how well they work together in this game.
hmm
You didn't control her; you controlled Seer in this game. Let's have it go. You mentioned Spider-Man. You can switch between Peter and Miles.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's do
Yeah.
that, where you can switch between those two, and maybe their kids tagging along, maybe the kids kind of off with with someone or something. I
Uncle
don't know, like
Grease.
Uncle Grease. There,
Yeah.
yeah, that could be an option. Just say, stay on the ship with Uncle Grease. We got this.
hmm
Um, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I'd love to see a third game as well.
hmm
Before we get a third game, or maybe after, or sometime in between, do you want these characters to live specifically in a game, or would you like to see kind of that crossover, the crew pop up in live action? And if so, where do you think they'd fit? Like Mando, like age them up a little bit.
hmm
Obi-Wan season 2, don't have to do anything age-wise because this game happens exactly the same time
Same
that
time.
Obi-Wan happens, like
hmm
right on. Do you want to age them up a whole lot and see them in Rey's movie, or see maybe their kid in
hmm
Rey's movie? Because it can be assumed that a Night Sister and a Jedi training the daughter of a Jedi, she might have some Force powers,
Right. Yeah.
you know?
I
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I kind of blank on the timeline. I don't know if they would even be alive for Ray's movie.
I mean,
Um.
they'd be they'd be old. That's why I said like their daughter, right? Like if
Yeah.
like Cal, I don't know how long Night Sisters live if they're not all eradicated.
hmm
So, Marin could still be kicking. Cal's going to be pretty old,
Very old. I feel
if he's still
like
around.
if there was an Obi-Wan season 2, I would love to see them, especially now that they're working with the Path.
Yeah.
Um. I feel like he could be in Mando if, like, given they're still alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Given they're
Yeah.
still alive, not even just age-wise, but like shit happens.
Shit happens. Yeah.
Um. Yeah, and I would absolutely love to see them in live action. When Cameron Monaghan was cast as Cal, I was a fan of him before the games came out, and I immediately
Mhm.
thought, oh, they should absolutely bring him into live action because this man is a very very talented actor,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure this is like the first games that he's ever done, and so I kind of assumed that they would. So I hope that they still have that in mind, maybe.
Hmm.
But I would absolutely love to
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah. Especially where they made the characters, aside from Grease, but look so much like they're actors.
hmm
Like it makes so much sense to bring them in.
Yeah.
I was also talking to, oh shoot, who was I talking to? I forget who I was talking to. Oh my God. If you're listening, I'm sorry. When you hear this story that I forget who I was talking to. In my defense, it is almost 1 a.m. So forgive me for forgetting who this conversation was with. But I mentioned in Obi-Wan, they mentioned that Obi-Wan has a brother. Very quick throwaway line.
hmm
Uh, could Cal be Obi-Wan's brother?
I don't know.
He's younger. Um, there's some like similarities there from a strong Jedi perspective, strong resolve. Um, you know, it, I yeah,
If they
not
have
every
different
Jedi.
surnames, maybe.
Yeah, but you never know where like Kestis or
hmm
Kenobi comes from, right? Like you can kind of like, yeah.
And
I'm
would
reading the Count Dooku book right now as well, and like
oh,
Dooku kind of like there's different like than his family name kind of thing. So like there's stuff there they could kind of
Yeah.
explain away.
But also, would
Um,
Obi-Wan know if his younger brother was in the Jedi Temple at the same time as him?
yeah, well, and that's it, right? Like there's connection. Like again, going back to the Dooku book, like he recognized his sister, but didn't know. Like he could just kind of like feel her presence when he went back to
Mm-hmm.
his home planet. But like didn't know. It just kind of like was drawn to her and didn't really know until like some shit hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, there's like weird like who's Cal and like why is he more important to the Skywalker story and does it make more sense for him to show up in Obi-Wan? But like I
Mm-hmm.
think they kind of fixed that with the path anyway, so they don't have to make a connection. But I was like,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of name dropped Obi-Wan having a brother for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and they name dropped, some stuff from Obi-Wan in this, but happening at the same time kind of explains that away too. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see that. I really want them, whether it's in the game or live action or whatever, I want them to explore more of Cal's dark side and like what the repercussions of
Mm-hmm.
letting some of the dark side in
Mm-hmm.
means. So that's where I hope they go personally with something down the road. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's so much more with these characters that I want.
Mm-hmm. Really quick about Cal's dark side. When he finally tells Marin that he's been feeling the way he's been feeling, and she just says, "Let me know when you feel like that again, okay?" or something like that. I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
So I feel like in the next game, I feel like it's going to become more of a problem, if I'm being
Mm,
honest.
yeah, absolutely.
Because I feel like at that point, they're directly going to be fighting the Empire. Directly.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know.
I, yeah, I really think it could be a problem. And that's why I think we're going to be able to play as Marin because I think like at some point Cal could just completely lose it.
Yeah.
And you either have to like take him out or take him back,
Don't say
like
take him out. He lives, he lives, he lives. I have to believe this in my heart of hearts.
I really hope so too. I really hope so. I'm not going to keep you any later. This has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for joining me once again. I swear you can come back for a non-video game episode anytime, any subject. Pick an episode of whatever, and we'll talk about it. But I really do appreciate you joining me for this one. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you so much for having me back.
No problem. If you want people to find you, where can they find you on the internet?
On Instagram and Threads now, I guess.
There you
I'm Riley Anntoinette. On Twitter, I am Riley Antoine, and I'm over on Into the Garbage Chute podcast if you want to listen to that and
Excellent.
hang out.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, people should go check you out everywhere. Follow along with your amazing like cosplay and everything else that you do. And once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. You can find me at for the time being, it's going to be _Canardian. But by the time you listen to this, it might have changed. So keep an eye out for that. I'm not going to reveal what it is because I'm still deciding right now. And Riley knows
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
But I haven't decided exactly when or if I'm going to do a drop. That there's something that I mentioned on Threads that I'm still kind of playing around with. So we'll see. There might be a change coming up soon. But you can follow me at _Canardian on. I'm really not on Twitter much anymore, so follow me on Instagram and Threads. You can find at Secret Friends U on Twitter or secretfriendsunite.com for everything else that we do. Again, join the Discord, join the Patreon, and thank you to all of our patrons for listening. May the Force be with you. Rex, play us out. This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.